Good morning everyone, this is Lucy and I'm coming on today to reply to a tag that's going around at the moment, and I watched Dawn Michelle's video this morning on her most memorable decks for 2022, and I think Marsha from Musings by Marsha did this tag yesterday, so I feel obliged to do it as well. Well, from what I can remember, because 12 months ago is a long time ago for my poor brain. But anyway, let's endeavor. Let's endeavor. What did I play with this year that I enjoyed? I didn't buy too many new decks during the year. I have for Christmas this year, but that's for another tag. But during the year, I bought some secondhand decks and I bought some vintage decks, and I had a lot of Kickstarters mature during the year. So I'm going to show you the decks I played with for particular challenges over the previous 12 months, and I hope you enjoy my selection because I enjoyed working with these decks. And let's start. Where will I start? Let's start with the Kickstarters that came in during the year, and I worked with them, each of these decks, for a month. And isn't that pretty? I worked with these Kickstarters for a month each, so that I got to experience them. If I didn't like them, I passed them on. I sold them or gave them away. But I didn't give these ones away because I really enjoyed playing with them. This is the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed. Listen to that cardstock, isn't it brilliant? That's my favorite cardstock of all the cards. Well, one of my favorite. I like linen as well. So this is the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed by Leilania Simone, and I've got number 130 out of 580, I think. 500 out of 500. And I really enjoyed this. This gave some really nice readings, and it was good when I was doing some feminine type work with some of my feminine oracles, which I'll show you in another video. There's the Three of Cups. That's a very special card for me. Fancy it being on the top after shuffling. So I have two friends and we call ourselves the Three of Cups, because when we get together we have an enjoyable time. So this is a very feminine deck. The guidebook is small, but it's, look at the back, look at this moon. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorgeous? With the elephants, 10 of coins. The colors in this and the interpretation of the cards just is just excellent. Look at, and the diversity. Look at the 9 of coins. There's diversity and different body shapes. I love the Hermit as well. So I really enjoyed playing with this one. It would have been around about March I got this in, and I spent the whole month. It was either March or April. I spent the whole month playing with this particular deck, and I probably paired it with the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine Oracle, which I'll show at another time. So that's one of my Kickstarters that came in during the year. Very good. A very easy to read deck. And the guidebook is simple, but it has the relevant information. It has a page for each of the majors, and then the meaning of the minors is just a paragraph. But it was enough for me. Look at the Two of Swords. Isn't that good? Oh, I can't work out which direction to take. Too hard. So that's the first Kickstarter that I want to show you. Just pop it away over here. The second one is the Lilith Tarot by Marion Constantine, who did the Oracle, which I forget the name. I enjoyed using this. It's a challenge. This deck is actually a challenge, and if I was to reply to another tag, which was the most challenging deck, for this year, I would have to say this one, because it's got so many symbology on it. The colors mean things, the animals mean things, the symbols mean things, and it just takes time to study it. The instruction book is not very big, but it does go into detail about all the different symbols, astrology symbols and element symbols and animals. So, and the cardstock's nice too. I'm a cardstock snob, as you probably can guess. And there's the Three of Cups again. So that's for my friends, Three of Cups. And I used this for a month, and I enjoyed it, and the messages it gave were quite detailed. It was something you'd have to journal and study over a period of time, because of all the different symbols in the cards and the colors and the animals. So good deck if you want a good meaty deck, if you want to get to understand all the different symbols in tarot. So that was my second Kickstarter. My other Kickstarter was the Lost Tarot, and I used this for a month, and I really enjoyed this because it's from a period in time that I used to read lots of novels, and the artwork is quite realistic. So I think it's photography. So this is the Lost Tarot by Hans Bowers. Georgian Bowers. Hans Georgian Bowers. Sorry, I haven't got my glasses with me. Hans Georgian Bowers. So this came in early in the year as well. So I don't back Kickstarter as much. I think I've only got about one or two, maybe. I just backed the Lonely Dreamer 3rd edition this week, and so the cards are long, but they're quite thin, so it's easy to riffle shuffle if you've got long fingers. So it's an easy deck to read. I would say this is a good beginner deck if anybody's looking for a deck to... Two of Cups. 6 of Cups. 8 of Wands. 7 carrots. She's taking all the carrots. And the Blasted Tower. So it's quite graphic. Strength. I liked it. I liked using it, and the messages that came through with it were quite clear. And it wasn't for the next deck. I would have used this over a couple of months. The next deck I did use during July, August and September because it was excellent. The cardstock is brilliant. The size of the cards are good. The artist's interpretation of each of the cards was easy to read, and the messages were clear. And I actually used this to read for some other people I know, and I was able to connect to ancestor, give ancestor readings with this deck. It was my most favorite of the year, this deck. This, I should tell you the name. It's the Baroque Tarot. The Baroque Tarot by La Musi Design. La Musi Design. Sorry, La Musi Design. www.lamusidesign.com. And it was a nice box. Got to have a nice package. This deck calls the user to care for their soul with much love, to open their heart and mind to learn their lessons and better themselves, to have faith that all will be unraveled as it should be. So this is the Baroque Tarot, and it sent me down a rabbit hole of learning about the Baroque period and how it started in Italy and influenced a lot of the artists from the 15th century, late 14th, 15th and 16th century, or was it anyway, it started in with the artists in northern Italy, and then moved down to southern Italy, and then from there went across the Baroque period, went across to Spain and influenced all the artists in Spain. So what you're looking at is an interpretation from those paintings from that period. And there's some great documentaries on YouTube about the Baroque period, which I watched. And from Spain, it was because Spain was Brussels, up around Brussels and Holland. It went up that way and then across to England. So the Baroque period lasted quite a long time, nearly 200 years. So it influenced all the artists of that period. Look at the Magician. So some people say this is dark, but it's not when you've got it in your hands. And that's pure Baroque, the angel. So I thoroughly enjoyed using this deck as well, but more so because I watched those YouTube documentaries on the period, the Baroque period. It gave me a better understanding of the interpretation of cards. And it gave good readings. This deck gave very good readings. So that was my other Kickstarter. Now I got 2 decks from a lovely lady, Secondhand, which I used during the year for a month each. And the lady knows who she is. And I thank her very much, because I thoroughly enjoyed using these, because they're very feminine, and I enjoyed doing different challenges on some of the Facebook pages I'm on using these decks. So this, I should mention, is the Lioness Oracle Tarot. Isn't that pretty? Look at the backs. Do love a good rose. And the guidebook also gave a different interpretation, but a good interpretation of the cards. It also connected it to the astrology as well. So yeah, this is a good deck. So if you ever see it secondhand on Facebook, have a go, buy it and have a go of it. If you don't like it, just sell it again. But I enjoyed it. But I haven't used it since the beginning of the year, when I used it to do some goddess work. So that's the Lioness. That's the Lioness Oracle Tarot by, who's it by? Written and designed by Alexandra Leon back in 2016. So it's been around a while. Oh. And I think you can buy it from some of the tarot shops, like Little Red Tarot in England. I think you can buy it from there. So nice deck. And another nice deck was this one, and this was a gentle deck for feminine challenges. I used this one, and this is the She-Wolf Tarot. She-Wolf Tarot by the book's not in the by Serpent Fire. Oh, there it is there. The She-Wolf Guidebook, written and edited by Devani Wolf from Serpent Fire. Devani Wolf. So this is another very feminine deck. Bit softy. It's got a lot of, it's Thoth inspired, I think. I think Dawn Michelle had this on Baroque Tarot. She had this deck as well. And she called it a inspired Thothy deck. I like that term. Queen of Swords. So I use this with my Divine Feminine oracles as well. And Knight of Cups. So what I liked about this particular deck was the guidebook. I enjoyed reading and interpreting the card based on what was said in the guidebook. It gave a very detailed meaning of why she chose the particular symbols and images and the astrology associated with that card. So, for instance, the Seven of Wands is Mars in Leo. Keys are rebirth, surmounting, moving mountains and dealing with opposing forces. So then she went in and explained the artwork and the light and the shadow of the card. So it was quite a detailed book and a mantra. So for the Seven of Wands, I am assertive, non-aggressive, nor passive. So that's something you can put in your journal if you do journaling. So nice deck, nice guidebook, nice guidebook. So I'll pop that over here. So another deck that I bought new, that I used for a challenge on Dawn Michelle's private subscriber site, and we did some inner growth work. So I to do the challenge, I deliberately bought the Outgrow Yourself Oracle by Actor Spayman. Oracle, and it's an oracle and a tarot. So Outgrow Yourself Oracle and Tarot is a universal tool that offers easy access to fully understanding oneself. The flowers will guide you in everyday, every way decisions and offer internal wisdom. Knowing your future is growing your future. So this is in your face tarot deck. It didn't hold back at all. It was quite blunt and accurate, and told it as it is without any bells and whistles. So for instance, this is the Tower, and the Tower is the pain is growing. Pain is growing. So this is Thoth inspired as well, this deck. So you had to know the flowers represented the suits. So you had to know, you had to count the flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There would be 6 here. Yeah, 6. So that would be, I can't remember now, but let's say that's the 6 of Wands, and that's success. Find your purpose. Death card. Blossom. Blossom. The Sun. Don't forget to water your plants. So For instance, don't forget to water your inner self, and here she is holding your inner child. What is keeping you caged? Princess of Cups. So you have to study this deck. This is another deck that you need to study the symbols on the deck. So the cards mean, the color of the cards mean the suits, and it has a oracle message with the tarot meaning. So Prince of Discs, which would be the King of Discs. Be patient, things are set in motion. Yeah, it was fun to use for the challenge. I haven't used it since, but it's a fun deck. If you're looking for a bit of a challenge, this deck's good for that. This deck's good. All right, so that was September. And then in October, I used about 3 different tarots to do the different challenges for Halloween and Samhain, the Northern Samhain. It was down here. It's the opposite. So we were coming into Beltane. Not quite there. Ostera. We're in Ostera. So, but my favorite deck of all decks for Halloween is I don't know if you can see this in the camera. Yokai Yachi Tarot. Yokai Yachi Tarot with the little ghost. See the little ghosty there? And it just has a little brochure, little white book. The only thing with this one, it doesn't explain why the artist chose the different characters in this, but it's a ghost and ghoul, Japanese ghost and ghoul deck, and I love it. Look at the lovers. I love the cardstock, I love the colours, the gold. It's autumnal for Halloween. And 2 of coins. He's in a bit of a pickle there. And the Queen is a ghoul. And the Hierophant is a frog. So it's a bit of a giggly deck. Octopus for 7 of Cups. Which one will I choose? Which one? Which one? Page of Swords. Have I been cutting you off? Sorry everyone, I get carried away with the So I've used this deck in other video responses because it is a favorite, and it's good for October. And I think you can buy it at the moment. I think they've done a second printing from memory. I think there's a second printing. And the gilding is nice as well. So, and last but not least, I actually opened a deck I bought in 2018. I was keeping it because it cost so much. I bought it in England, from England. I imported it from England, and at the time it was out of print, and it's still out of print. And to do a particular challenge, I wanted to use this deck, so I finally opened it, and I would say this would now have to be my favorite deck of all decks. And this is the Tarot Roots of Asia by AGM, printed by AGM, and I can't pronounce the Malaysian name or the Thai name, but that's it there. So they come up, you'll see it come up in the second-hand markets. Generally it comes up in German, you don't often see it in English, but I'm really enjoying this deck. I used it all through November to do particular challenges relating to spirit. And of course I studied Tibetan Buddhism for 12 years, I think 12 years. I still hold many of the Tibetan Buddhist beliefs, so this particular deck resonates really well with me. Look at that, Takini, and for spiritual work, if you ever get a chance of using this deck, I can highly recommend it. The book actually goes into Tibetan philosophy as well. It connects the cards to the Tibetan Buddhist philosophy. Gives a excellent meaning to the cards. So yes, that's my favorite of favorites now. That and my two favorite decks from this year, favorite of favorite decks. They're all favorites, but my two favorite of favorites are the Baroque and the Roots of Asia. But I did enjoy using the other ones that I've shown as well. And I'm looking forward to the Tarot of the Cosmic Seeds Oracle that's coming out in the new year. Tarot of the Cosmic Seed is currently in Kickstarter creating an oracle. So it'll be out early next year, I think. Not sure. I just, one day it turns up. Because being in Australia, you never know when you're going to get your decks. You never know when the post office is going to push it out the other end. Goes into a void, black void, and you never know when it's coming out the other end. Even with tracking, it's hard because it only starts tracking once it gets to Australia. So between shipping from some country, it goes into this black void of nothingness, and then out pops your deck at the other end. It's quite bizarre. But anyway, many blessings. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this particular VR, to whoever started it. But Dawn Michelle posted one last night, and Marsha posted one yesterday. Many blessings.